Sitting with Tom Purves, who is the Senior Business Leader, Merchant Strategic Solutions for Visa. Thank you, Tom. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Got to ask right off the bat, you've talked many times, and Visa has talked about commerce moving to the cloud.
Yep.
Define that for me, would you?
So the cloud for us, we see a strong desire for consumers to transact on digital devices and online.
Yep.
And sometimes what we used to say was that there was a distinction that, if you were online and doing e-commerce, you were in your basement, you were dialing up to the internet, and then when you went to the store, you went to the store, and those were two separate places.
Sure.
But now with the advent of the smartphone and connected devices, that's no longer true. You and me, we both have smartphones. We're online all the time, whether we realize it or want to be or not. And what we've recognized at Visa is that mobile device is a powerful tool for consumers to be able to enhance their shopping experience, whether they're shopping from the couch or even from the aisles, in terms of being able to get more information about products in order to build a richer experience around shopping. And we see both consumers and merchants adopting digital channels for commerce much more rapidly, and we certainly saw that this weekend with Cyber Monday and Black Friday.
Yeah.
And so that's how we sort of think of as the cloud.
There's a piece of me that looks at this and says, a piece of plastic, a credit card really is one of the most portable things you can possibly imagine. You've done a lot of engineering to make these things work, infrastructure. How different a world is it that we're moving into in the mobile space from a simple credit card?
So from a simple credit card, one of the things, credit card is obviously it's fantastic technology. It's worked really well and will continue to work well into the future. But if the credit card doesn't give you any feedback. It doesn't tell you what your current balance is. It doesn't tell you what special offers.
It does if you keep it at the top. I keep getting this declined. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one way to do it. Sorry.
It doesn't tell you, what special points might apply to this transaction. It doesn't communicate back to you in any way, except at the end of the month or if you go back and look online. Whereas a digital form factor gives you much more interactability with your card, and also it can be you can add additional features like alerts for transactions. You can feel more secure as you're shopping too, in terms of being able to control where your card is, when it's transacted on, and see transactions in real time and that kind of thing.
So, you guys have made a Visa has made a career. Right? It's your number one mission is the safety or the security, the trust aspect of this. And do you think that it is as easy as just putting a Visa moniker on a mobile solution? Do you think that trust will extend that way quickly?
So it's more than just the Visa moniker. The reason trust comes with the Visa moniker is because of all of the infrastructure we have behind that.
Right.
So it's the infrastructure behind the Visa moniker, as well as the guarantees like the zero liability protection and all the protections we have on the merchant side too, and insurances and protections you have behind that brand. So it's not just the brand, it's what the brand signifies and the tools behind the scenes that we're able to bring when we apply ourselves to a mobile payment solution.
I don't know if it's perceived this way, but certainly Visa has been a mobile company for quite some time, forever, right? Since the advent of the credit card, it's pretty mobile. I think it's the second most mobile currency to actually a U.S. American dollar, right? But when you look at this, how come it has taken a little bit of time for you guys to get really deeply embedded or focused on the actual smartphone or mobile space?
The space is a complicated space because there's a lot of players and it's rapidly evolving too.
Yeah.
We have been involved in every time you purchase something on iTunes, chances are it's linked to your credit card or your debit card, right? And we've worked with a lot of players in the field in terms of enabling experiences. And whether you're buying something from an Amazon app or if you're using one of our contactless PayWave solutions. And what we're trying to do is just continue investing in that and create a better experience. And so what we've done is launched a new platform called V.me, which you're going to be hearing a lot more about in the near future. And we've just announced the branding for that. But V.me is going to be a universal platform that consumers can use to transact online and shop with freedom without having to input or share all of their data with each merchant that they want to transact to, which creates a lot more convenience online and especially on mobile devices too.
So this is, and you're doing that to protect privacy, security. Is it all of that? Or?
All of those things, and it's just a better experience. So when I shop online, one of the reasons I don't shop at more merchants or more places is it is a pain to have to go to the hall closet, fish out my card, type in the all that information. So we're providing a much smoother path to purchase for consumers to enable them to transact more easily. And then when you bring that to a mobile or a smartphone environment, not having to fill in all those form fields for every single transaction. transaction can greatly improve, we feel, conversion and the potential of commerce on mobile devices.
Yeah, I wonder about that. I wonder if there are actually online transactions or mobile transactions that have ended because I can't find my credit card. It would be interesting to know if there's a statistic. Do you have anything that backs that?
I don't have any that I can give you today, but we know that transaction abandonment is a big problem in the merchant community, and they tell us about it frequently. The abandoned shopping carts and incomplete transactions, and it's an
issue.
It's definitely an issue.
What about the competitive landscape? Is there anything out there that you're afraid of, or that Visa fears, or Visa wishes that they could be doing?
I mean, we've always said our biggest competitor is cash. And and cash and checks, and we think that there are much more elegant and efficient ways to transact than cash or check, and we're trying to deliver solutions that help turn more of the economy to digital payments.
Yeah. So what about Amazon, PayPal, and the other guys like Square, or some of these new upstarts that are moving into this space?
Absolutely, I think that Amazon and PayPal and Apple too have done a great job of demonstrating the value of some of these new channels for commerce. Certainly if you look at mobile commerce before the iPhone, something like 4% of consumers ever downloaded or paid money for content on their phone, whether it be a ringtone or a game or something like that. I've seen statistics that since the iPhone was released, it's up to 80%.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes down to the incredible improvements in usability and the reducing of friction of that purchase, the one-button type purchase on Apple. And what we want to do is give consumers more choice and give merchants more choice in terms of being able to take those sorts of experiences and put them in new places and in new channels and capitalize on that same effect.
So really what you're trying to do is run the plumbing of the transactions. I mean, so you're part of a lot of these initiatives that are going on in the mobile wallet space because you're a fulfillment house. You're processing the transactions, but you're also doing your own products like V.me. Is there a friction there between competitive pieces, or is it?
So we're not trying to displace any of our existing partners or clients with the V.me solution. This is a solution that they can customize for their own clients and roll out and resell and even extend. So what we've done with V.me is we've also, for the first time, launched a unified Visa Developer Center, which means really opening up VisaNet. So if you look at some of these other wallet solutions out there, many of them are closed, and only certain payment types are allowed, and only certain types of transactions are allowed. We're enabling you to put any type of card, be it Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover, into our wallet. As well, on the merchant side, we're opening up tools to developers to be able to integrate our solution into existing payment solutions out there and create bigger solutions empowered by V.me.
It's a very competitive landscape when you kind of look out there, and I'm not talking about the transaction companies. I mean, there's very few big credit card companies. There's Visa and a couple of others. But when we talk about the mobile wallet space, this is an interesting place because there are quite a number of mobile wallets offerings out there. And does Visa want to play in each one of those? You've got your own. There's Google's got theirs with NFC technology. How do you win, or how do you gain momentum in that area? Because most people aren't going to be carrying one or two wallets. They're going to be carrying one. They're going to make a decision. And how does Visa be that?
So people may have a small number of wallets, and there will be a lot of parties out there that we're working with today. So when it comes to, for example, the Google wallet, we've licensed the PayWave standard to them so that so that Google can put a PayWave card into their wallet, and we've licensed and certified that solution to work on our terminals and to carry all of our security. So we're very much open to working with all these other providers, and I certainly expect to see there's maybe a crowded space now. We expect to see it be more crowded over the next few years. I expect to see a lot of proliferation, followed by consolidation, likely, as we've seen in a lot of technology spaces. But when you go back and you talk to consumers, or you look at some of the independent research of the brands that they trust the most when it comes to digital wallet, Visa comes to the top. Yeah,
so that's the key, right? I mean, I think the key for any of these wallets to win or to work or to be accepted is the fact that they have to have the infrastructure. There's talk about how much modifications each location or retail location has to do in order to be able to accommodate some of these, and it's out of their range. It's too costly to implement. So to leverage what's already out there from Visa has got to be something that there's a competitive advantage for you guys.
Absolutely, yeah. There's few others that can match the scale and scope of the infrastructure that Visa has.
So how do you How does Visa get consumers to start moving into the mCommerce space, to start spending more money through their smartphones?
Well, we find that consumers to a large extent are doing it on their own, and so we want to provide consumers with choice, and we're not trying to shift consumers from one type of behavior for the sake of that behavior. We're finding that consumers are the ones that are leading us there, and that they really want the convenience of transacting through these channels, and so does the merchant community, and so we're rolling out these products to meet that existing demand, really.
Okay, so what about some impediments to this? 2 or 3 things that are going to slow this down, or impediments to some kind of engagement with a consumer this way?
It's a good question. I think with all things, it's not going to be a transition that happens overnight, and it's not going to be all demographics that take to it overnight. I think that there's always going to be issues of digital literacy, financial literacy, of awareness around products like that. I think for sure are going to be factors as we roll this out. But we see that with all new payment technologies, be it the first plastic cards, the first ATM machines,
debit cards,
debit cards, that kind of thing. But if you look at history, I think we're seeing an accelerating rate of adoption of many of these standards.
So what keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night?
Mm-hmm.
I think what keeps me up at night is there's so much potential out there, and I don't want us to miss it. I don't want our clients to miss it. This is a golden opportunity that we have right now to really rethink the way payment systems work and the way commerce works, and we have a great opportunity to really re-engineer and create a lot of new value. And so, part of what just keeps me up at night is thinking about how moving fast enough to keep up with the space of possibilities here, for sure.
What about, 2011 was supposed to be the year of NFC. Do you guys look at NFC and think that this is something that is bound to happen? Are you excited about that?
Absolutely. So NFC is a great technology, in large part because it taps into the existing PayWave infrastructure and all of the standards that we have out there today. I'm from Canada originally, and we have a great penetration of PayWave up there, and it feels like the first time you use a PayWave transaction, it feels like magic. So you buy a coffee, and you just wave your phone, and it's a wonderful experience that I hope more people try.
What about companies? I'm from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Our major carrier, Rogers,
Mm-hmm.
is actually applied to become a chartered bank. So this is now a way for them to ultimately, my assumption would be, to take transactions, low-end transactions. Apple, what happens if Apple decides that they want to become a bank, and they own ultimately the customer? They're even a step closer to the customer than Visa is. That's a pretty big disruption, or capability for disruption. Does that play into your plans, or do you start to think about those things?
Yes, in the sense that being a bank is important. There's a lot that comes with a bank. So what we were talking about earlier, about all those protections, that underwriting, that those guarantees that you can get that from a bank much better than you can get from any other a standard telco. So it's all about what happens when the transaction goes wrong. Who do you call? How do you get? Who's underwriting that zero liability? That kind of thing. And so what we found from around the world is that new payment startups realize quickly, or even network operators realize quickly, that they need to partner with banks.
Right.
And even from a regulatory standpoint, sometimes the regulators require it, and that's the increasing trend, is that you need a banking license to do a lot of these things. So there's nothing to stop anyone from trying to become a bank, but it's not necessarily an easy path to take. So the other value of a bank is that's where people's money is. So it's a question of, will these other players like the Rogers or will the Apple convince you to deposit your paycheck there? Is this a bank with enough history behind it that you're going to trust to be a?
I'm already giving half my paycheck to Rogers, so
exactly. Sure enough. Anyone who's a bank is eligible to be a member of Visa too, but I think you're going to start to see these much tighter partnerships between some of these non-traditional payment players, like the mobile network operators and the banks, going forward.
Listen, Tom, I've taken a lot of your time. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. Thanks.